about tackling such a situation. Let's in the meantime cross live to the pictures that are now coming in of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They're arriving at Kazan Expo Center, and as far as this is on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit, as back-to-back meetings and bilaterals that are planned for the Prime Minister today. Of course, India having an important role to play as far as the BRICS and the forum that is also concerned, as the meetings that are now lined up when it comes to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, all important one, the focus that will be on China, and it's going to happen later in the day. But let's quickly explain those live pictures that are now coming in at the Expo Center where Prime Minister has reached. Yes, Rishabh, if you can take us through as far as today's program of the Prime Minister is concerned.
Well, definitely. The Prime Minister is in Kazan and will be attending the BRICS Summit. There will be one closed plenary session where the leaders would be talking, and there would be one open plenary session as well. There will be, it will begin with the family photo ahead of the sessions, and then the leaders will go into the closed plenary session. The Prime Minister has just arrived at the Kazan Expo Center, which is the venue for the BRICS Summit this year in Russia. Russia is hosting. Yesterday, we saw Prime Minister holding bilateral talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as Iranian President. And important issues were discussed, including Russia, Ukraine, with the Russian President, and the West Asia situation with the Iranian President. India also extended a hand for peace in both the meetings. Today, after the plenary session, there is all important. All eyes are on India-China bilateral. The Foreign Secretary yesterday at the press conference confirmed that there will be an India-China bilateral, something that Times Now has been reporting since yesterday morning. By the end of the day, it was confirmed that there will be an India-China bilateral today. All eyes on that, how things unfold. Given that there have been a standoff of more than 4 years, an agreement has been arrived upon for the patrolling in Ladakh sector, and especially the eastern Ladakh sector on Depsang and Demchok.
Right.
Remains to be seen how things unfold once that bilateral meeting takes place.
Well, Rishabh, if you can also highlight as far as the focus area of the BRICS Summit is also concerned, what exactly is implementation of a partner country model that seems to highlight as far as India's positioning within the BRICS is also concerned?
Well, definitely. The BRICS this time around is very clear that the development is on agenda, and development of states, member states, is something that is high on agenda. Even when it comes to the partnership within the member states, that is something that India is very, convinced with. Also, what we are looking at right now is something that can talk about the, intergovernmental currency mechanism, which means that instead of using a dollar for the trade between the member nations, local currencies, for example, if India and Russia is to trade, they can use rupee ruble. Similarly, if Iran has to trade, they can use their own currency instead of dollar. So in a way, decreasing the reliance on the Western currency is something that is also on agenda. Apart from that, smart cities, green energy. Energy, for that matter, food security is something that all will be discussed in the preliminary session, and the Kazan Declaration will be adopted at the end of these sessions.
All right. So we are looking at those pictures that are coming in. Of course, what's to look forward to as far as the bilateral that is now concerned between India and China, the focus areas that are now concerned, and looking at the positioning here of India, Rishabh, mainly because there are no Western countries here, but BRICS shouldn't also come across as an anti-West group. And this is where India's position all the more becomes important, because India has stronger ties both when it comes to Asian countries and also with the West.
Well, India has been very clear that this is not, BRICS for that matter, is not an anti-West grouping. It is a non-West grouping. And India has been very clear that it should not be seen as something which is anti-NATO, anti-US, or anti-West or anti-Europe in general. It is a grouping of the countries in the region. Initially, when it began in 2000, it was envisioned as a group of developing economies and emerging economies, and it was called BRIC when India, Russia, Brazil, and China came together. In 2006, it was further expanded, and South Africa joined in, and it became BRICS. And this year around, it has happened that there have been 4 more inclusions in the BRIC grouping, and Iran, UAE, Egypt, and Ethiopia have joined in. And there are many countries, over 24 countries, who have officially applied for the membership, including countries like Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So it would be interesting to see how that unfolds. It's the first time that countries like Iran, as well as Egypt, Ethiopia, and UAE will have a say in BRICS Summit. And, it will be interesting to see what the outcome document will look like, what the Kazan Declaration would look like. How would it talk about the West Asia crisis? How would it talk about the Russia-Ukraine conflict, given that the stakeholders from both the crises are part of this grouping?
All right. So looking at those pictures that are now coming in at the Kazan Expo Center, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be heading for the photo op, and of course the positioning there of India is concerned, because today would be the highlight as far as the focus is concerned. Rishabh has been also talking about right after Mahabalipuram would be this engagement that will happen with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Will be standing by for this development as far as Prime Minister Modi's visit to Russia to attend the BRICS Summit. We head into a short break right now. You're watching Times Now.